Northamptonshire. He told our reporter Stuart Ratcliffe how he's been affected by post-traumatic stress disorder.
One of the checkpoints we're on, there was a house on the checkpoint, and we got friendly with a family that lived in that house. We used to give the kids the sweets that we get in a ration packs and everything. And all of a sudden one day he was cutting the grass with a sickle, and he hit a landmine, which blew him apart, blew his wife out of the tree, all her chest and everything was blown out. And this little girl wouldn't leave my side, and I was no further away from you than where the body was.
Kelvin Coleman served with the Royal Anglians in both Bosnia and Northern Ireland. But 10 years after leaving the army, he's still deeply affected by his experiences.
When I come back from Bosnia, I just went off the rails. I was drinking heavily.
Kelvin has been officially diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. He's lost his job, his house, his wife and his self-confidence. He now lives at home with his mum.
It's had a big impact in my life because really I'm his carer. I'm not just his mum, I'm his carer too. Kelvin
is now on medication, but his mum thinks it's too little, too late.
Kelvin has done a couple of silly things, and we've been admitted to St Mary's. And I remember sitting there one day for about 5-6 hours, and all I wanted, just help me, just somebody give me some help. And after about 5 or 6 hours, I got 2 sleeping tablets for him. So you expect me to think the system's good? No.
And watching soldiers' homecoming parades on the news can be a painful experience for Kelvin.
It makes me feel really sad and sick. It really does. I hate seeing it. It sends shivers down my spine. It's part of me that wants to be out there to help him. But there's also a bigger part of me that's saying you'd be a bigger hindrance than a help.
And do you think things have changed now for those people who are coming back now? Do you think they get more support than you did, or do you think...
I hope so. I hope they get a lot more support than what I did, or do, because I had none.
Kelvin Coleman. Now, the Ministry of Defence told Look East it takes the mental welfare of all its personnel extremely seriously. Assessments and treatment is available for all veterans who've served since the Falklands conflict. For more information, call the dedicated helpline at the Ministry of Defence on 0800 169 5401. And if you have a story for Homefront, give us a call on 08457 630 630, or of course you can email at look.east@bbc.co.uk.
Here's another Carling Cup night for our region's teams. Top of the bill, Peterborough v Ipswich at London Road. It could be a tense match, with both sides struggling for form in the Championship. Jonathan Park is at London Road now. Jonathan.
Yes, well, Susie, it's not even the end of August yet, but already this is maybe a bit of a must-win game for both Peterborough and Ipswich here at London Road. Both sides are stuck in the relegation zone in the Championship without a win so far this season. Interesting touchline battle with Roy Keane and Darren Ferguson, 2 former Manchester United players, of course. But as for Southend tonight, no real pressure on them. They play Hull of the Premier League, and no shocks, sadly, last night at Carrow Road either, where Norwich City failed to beat Sunderland. A repeat of that 1985 League Cup final, which Sunderland won this time by 4-1. We can hear now more from Ian Barmer.
Sunderland are 2 leagues above them, but for 25 minutes Norwich stood their ground with a few scares and a few chances. Then the gulf in class began to show. Timu Tainio put Sunderland 1 up, and in the next 10 minutes Norwich were effectively shut out of the match. Andy Reid chipped keeper Ben Annick beautifully, and a few minutes later struck again to make it 3-0 at half-time. After the break, Norwich managed to stem the tide and pulled one back through Wes Hoolahan. Then they scored again, but this time it was for Sunderland. A deflection off the shin of Owen Tudor-Jones. 4-1.
There's some positive and some negatives, but I thought we started the game really well, and with a couple of chances to get ahead, and then materialising with an error at the back, and you get punished when you're playing that type of calibre of a team.
Norwich ended up with 10 men. Spillane's push made the ref see red, and in the scramble, keeper Ben Annick was injured. So no Carling Cup run for the Canaries. They're firmly back in the land of League One. Ian Barmer, BBC Look East.
So Norwich are out, just 3 teams left in the region in the Carling Cup this season. Let's have a chat to a couple of legends at their clubs. Kevin Beattie from Ipswich and Tommy Robson from Peterborough, both part of the local radio coverage tonight. Tommy, firstly, where's it gone wrong so far for Posh this season?
Just their own mistakes, basically. The lads have played well, really well. I mean, if you take the game where we lost 3-2, you know, there were 3 mistakes at the back. So we really won on merit, 2-0. But that's just been the case. I wasn't at Preston, so I'm not so sure about Preston. I don't think we played very well at Preston. But I've seen 3 or 4 games this season, and I thought we'd done quite well.
So individual mistakes possibly. Kevin, is that the same sort of story with Ipswich this season?
Basically, yeah, and it's goal scoring also. You know, we haven't been too bad at the back, but the times we have played, you know, we've been chipping goals in, and the lads will own up, you know, themselves and say, look, you know, we've got to put the hand up because we're not doing well enough. But we have nobody to put the ball in the net either, so it's very difficult.
You've been having plenty of banter on the touchline, rolling back the years probably. What banter about the scoreline possibly tonight, Tommy? Quick word on that.
Well, both teams are desperate to win a game for confidence. You
Quick
know.
scoreline?
2-1 to Peterborough.
Kevin?
2-1 the other way.
All right, chaps, thanks very much. You can hear more, of course, later in tonight's late bulletins to find out the result from this match. Back in the studio.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Now, I played golf at Weston Park on the weekend, and as I was walking back to my car, somebody said, "There's Fred Flintstone standing by your car," and there's Wilma with him. And then there was a dinosaur, all sorts of people, and they were there. It was a wedding.
It was a wedding?
Yeah, I had my photograph taken with the bride.
Oh, well, you'll treasure that. Kim Riley. Kim Riley has been to meet the new Mr. and Mrs. Flintstone.
Bedrock's Wedding of the Year, starring Simon and Andy as Fred and Wilma. Oh, and that's Anna, the wedding planner, who faced her biggest challenge. To the strains of You Know What, Simon's sister Jill and partner Richard join them as Barney and Betty Rubble, making it a double celebration. They're guests at Weston Park Golf Club, sporting their finest Stone Age gear. In the nearby Dinosaur Park, where the wedding photographs were taken, Simon and Andy reflected on the happiest of days.
The barriers were broken down. Normally with weddings you get their family and our family and that, but then barriers were broken down because of the costumes. Everyone was happy and bubbly, and you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best wedding I've ever been to.
They all look fantastic, all my cave men and women, all the guests look absolutely phenomenal. They really did make us proud, yeah. Definitely.
There was a very serious thing underneath all this, because you were raising money for a particular charity. Tell me about that.
Yeah. As for the Children's Liver Disease Foundation, I've got a lad, Sam, who's had a liver transplant, and it's very close to our hearts to raise awareness that children do get liver disease, and to raise much money as possible.
How much was raised on the day?
Oh, approximately $1,200 at the moment, but donations are still coming in.
There was a 4-tiered wedding cake, a rock cake, of course, though they cut a few corners on the wedding car. So how was the day, Mr. and Mrs. Flintstone?
Yabba dabba do!
When you're with the Flintstones, have a yabba dabba do time, a dabba do time, another day all done.
Looked great, didn't they?
Brilliant. Julie's got some wonderful pictures from Suffolk.
I have. From Summer Leighton Hall, the beautiful grounds, and there's the building itself. This Sunday, they've got a special family fun day and live jazz on the lawns on Bank Holiday Monday. And in the library of the Great Hall, a special centenary exhibition is going on at the moment, because in 1909, the first part of the estate opened to the public, and these wonderful wedding dresses are featuring that exhibition, and they span 5 generations of the Crosley family. Absolutely stunning. Now, pretty good day for a visit